Hello, YouTube. It's been a little bit because I've been super busy at work, but I have been doing a little bit of research and, finding out some more information. Just wanted to share some of this with you. So growing up, I always, of course, knew that my grandmother was, a doll collector. She loved dolls. She loved collecting dolls, but I didn't know how much history she had with ceramics and, really how she got into it. So we found a scrapbook, we started going through and started learning a little more, and I came to find that she actually had a ceramic studio when she was younger and then got into dolls. And there were numerous articles written about her reproduction dolls that she made. So we decided to showcase a few reproduction dolls that she made in this video, just to kind of give you a little bit of a sense of her and what she was doing. And what she was really interested in. So I guess the first thing I wanted to go through was some of the articles that I found on her and her history and, just different things she did. I don't know, honestly, that I'm really mentioned in any articles in print. We found this whole scrapbook where she's got like 6 or 7 articles written about her dolls and what she's done. So the first one, in chronological order, the first one we came across was a Daily News article. And it goes through how she got started in ceramics. A lot of the articles were really based on her reproduction dolls and, the fact that she wanted to bring the reproduction dolls or start making reproduction dolls to kind of bring dolls to the masses and allow people the opportunity that may not be able to afford some of the antique dolls to be able to own dolls and add these dolls to their collections. So this one, was an article in the Daily News that goes through, how she got into ceramics, and that we're from New York and they had a summer house in New Jersey that they would go to, and she would spend the whole summer there. And I guess she just didn't like, the, card playing and the activities that a lot of the people did in the little community that they had their summer house in. So she started investigating different things to do and trying to find a new hobby. So she came across ceramics and she decided that she really developed a love for ceramics. So that's really where it all started. Then there was another, ad in December of 1981 that she had some dolls that were up for sale at Fortune Off. Fortune Off was a store that was a pretty high-end home jewelry and furniture store on Long Island in New York. And we used to joke when we were kids, like, Fortune Off will take a fortune off your hands. Because, we just couldn't afford to shop there. But she sold some of her dolls there. And, I have some pictures of some of the dolls that she was selling there and some of the price tags on the dolls. Seems like they were still kind of expensive. I guess it was a good time for selling dolls then. But then in one of the little ads that they had, she was doing a free demonstration on, showing people how to craft dolls. And then a little fun fact was that my mom actually used to make reproduction dolls also at one point. So, the one weekend it was my grandmother doing the dolls, and then the next weekend it was my mother, and she's referenced in here as well. But my mother is actually her daughter-in-law, not her daughter. So it's just a little, it's kind of funny how the history all comes together. And then my grandmother on my mother's side also used to have a ceramic studio. So I don't know if it was just that ceramics were super popular back in the 60s and 70s, or if it's just, it was kismet that they would meet and join these two ceramics families together. Who knows? But anyway, then moving on to the next article, there was an article in the New York Times in 1982 that was actually talking about 2 new doll makers that were kind of hitting the doll world. And one of the doll makers was Victoria Ward. And in the article, it references my grandmother again, that Victoria Ward had come to my grandmother to have her teach her the skills of making dolls. So that was pretty interesting that, she was the muse to the next generation, of doll makers as well. Then moving on, there was an article in the Long Island Heritage in 1984 on dolls and doll collecting, and she was quoted as saying that doll collectors shouldn't be uptight about reproduction dolls, that she's a doll collector and she actually makes reproduction dolls. So, I think she was really trying to just, I guess, develop the love of collecting dolls, whether you could afford, the super expensive high-end dolls, or if you could only afford reproductions, or, whatever was in your budget, it doesn't matter. Just, you can love it and you can enjoy it. And it was just something that she really wanted to make sure that, people knew that it wasn't something that only the rich could do, that, everyone can love and enjoy collecting. Then, of course, in Assets magazine, she was quoted. So Assets magazine in September, October of 1984 had an article on the profitability or potential profitability of doll collecting. So, and again, in this one, she was referenced as being an internationally known artist of reproduction dolls. Now, again, I just never knew any of this stuff. So it's like super interesting to find out. It's such a shame that you sometimes find out these things after the person has already passed. I think people just don't really love talking about their lives. They kind of feel like it might bore you. But it's amazing, like just super interesting. And then moving forward, January 2007, there was an article about her doll collection. And, in this article, they reference a doll that could potentially be worth $35,000. Now, of course, it's a point in time and whatever. So, it is what it is. But at any rate, this is the doll that they were referencing in the article. So she's super cute and all. I don't know, I don't know the values, so whatever, who knows. But then I figured, this would be a good one to start my investigation on. So I came across this site called dollsmagazine.com. And on the site, they'll actually, you can click a link and then you can send in some questions and, pictures of a doll, and they'll give you some information on it. Sometimes the history, I guess it depends on the doll, what information you're going to get back from them. But, so I figured, long shot, might as well send in an email. So I sent in an email to this site, and the next day I heard back from them. So good and bad. She came back and she said $35,000 seems pretty pie in the sky for this doll. Okay. But she said she does think that it's, the doll has value and it is a rare doll. So it's, so it's good. It was interesting. But then, I was telling my husband about it, and he was like, well, I don't know, what are these people's credentials? It's just some random person on the internet. Who are you really getting this information from? So I read back through the email that I got, and it turns out that the person that was giving me the information, let me just put her down real quick. I don't want to. So it turns out that the person that I was communicating with and emailing back and forth with, who seems very lovely, was this Jan Folks, who wrote books on the guide of, to doll values and so forth. So it's pretty interesting. I'm like, I thought I was just emailing with some random person, and then I'm emailing with a, famous doll, authority. So it's pretty interesting. But, so this was my first one to kind of really investigate. Still don't know what she's worth. And, I don't know. We'll figure it out eventually. But I did get some feedback saying that she's rare, but I'll continue to just take good care of her. And, we'll see what comes out of this whole journey. But, I'm starting to really, maybe want to keep more than just a few. Ready?
Yep.
So now that we've taken you through a little bit of Wilma's history and, what she's done, how she progressed through her love of dolls, I guess, we wanted to take you through and show you some of the dolls that she personally made. So these are in her collection, but they're reproduction of antique dolls, and she made them. So she made them with the porcelain bodies and porcelain heads. So
Let me bring the camera over so we can get them closer. I'll do something useful here. Alrighty.
So these guys all have, you know, the jointed porcelain bodies. They have the joints in the knees and the elbows, and you know, and then she made the heads, and she signed them all with her name, W.J. Otto. So this is the first little girl. So she's, you know, she's a cute little girl. I'm not sure like which mold she came from or anything, but she's a cute doll. And then we have this one, and I couldn't actually lift up the back of her hair because it's so nicely done that I didn't want to ruin her little hairstyle. But she was another one that Wilma made. And for a while she was selling the dolls because she wanted to, I guess, bring doll love and, you know, collecting to the masses, because some dolls were so expensive and she didn't want to keep people from being able to buy them. So that's why she started doing some of the reproductions.
I mean, no joke. Bringing them into fortune off like she did was a marketing genius in a sense.
And then this is a little Asian girl that she made. And so she's super cute. At one point, she had taken a trip to China, and she really loved the Asian culture.
If you look at the jewelry in her hair, it's just very fancy for a doll that's been put together.
Little ornate jewelry, but she loved the culture. So a lot of her decorations in the house are old Asian collectibles, and I guess more recent. And then she made this little girl. And then we have this one that does have a little story about it. So this one we can learn straight from Wilma. And so on here, this says limited edition doll, S&H 612 CM Bergmans, 2 of 25, museum quality doll by the international doll artist Wilma J. Otto. And then this is how she would sign her name, W.J. Otto. So this was one of the ones that she made as well. And then we got this cute little guy that she made. He's also jointed. So even though he's teeny tiny, he's got his little joints, and he's a cute little football player. And so he's fun. And then to add to the fun, when we were going through all of the, you want to put that down?
Yep, I'm putting her back down again. Alrighty, hold on. Bada bing.
And then when we're going through everything, we found no doll collection is complete without Raggedy Ann
and Raggedy Andy.
So these are our little fun guys that we found when we were going through the collection too. So she has, you know, of course the expensive high-end dolls, and then the fun.
Well, these aren't super cheap. I mean, they're from like 1943. So they've been around the block a few times. Fortunately, you can tell on Andy. He's a boy. He's a little bit dirty. We may try to gently cleanse his face a little bit, but Raggedy Ann, she's actually pretty clean. Imagine that.
See, the little girls stay clean. The boys, not so much.
He's been playing in the mud, apparently. I don't know.
Yeah, so this is just, you know, a little bit of what we learned this week.
Yeah, and let me, hold on. I'm going to bring you in, just in case you couldn't see from where you were there. See? Clean and dirty. All right, on the camera, it might not look that dirty. All right, you're doing good. You're made for film, buddy. Thanks.